It's the annual Gather Round Festival, a round that's either the start of or the second installment of a month dedicated to a trilogy of public holiday rounds that are also premeditated counterattacks on the NRL. This year's edition may have real-life world events that may affect the spectator's experience, but that won't stop the AFL from preventing the show from going on as planned. Even with a fuel crisis affecting the country, fans will be guaranteed to use the Gather Round discount for this special weekend as long as they use major sponsor Shell to fill up. After all, we all know the AFL loves turning the negative into a positive. To kick off the festivities, we have the Thursday night matchup that started it all, as the Crows take on Carlton at the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide are coming off 4 home losses in a row, but their barrackers shouldn't worry, as Carlton, like the English cricket side, will take the moral victory in the form of a big first half lead and then absolutely blow it without thinking twice. Next up on Friday night, it's the underperforming Magpies taking on the overachieving Dockers. Many pundits feel that Collingwood's terrible run of away games will be too overwhelming for their senior players, as Freo come off a nail-biting affair from last week and will face boredom from not only staying in Adelaide for a week, but also having to re-watch their second half performances and team meetings. To start off Saturday, we head to Barossa Park for yet another Gather Round matchup between North Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions. Like many previous encounters, the fans will have to watch the reigning premiers feast upon the kangaroo carcasses that lay upon them, which will ultimately say little of the Queensland side in the grand scheme of things. Luckily, they'll only have to endure it for 40 minutes before switching over to Adelaide Oval for the first of a double-header between another repeat of opponents in Essendon and Melbourne. Essendon are hot favourites to remain the shittest side this season, as they look to cope by reminiscing the good old days of their last premiership and finals win, all of which were against their current opponents in Melbourne, who look to drag the Bombers to hell and torture them like their self-inflicted torture of a public apology for yet another incident involving Stephen May. Then it's off to Norwood to see the Swans take on the Suns in their god-awful Gather Round gear, which somehow isn't their worst, and look to rebound from last week's upset loss. But expect the older Nepo baby to fight back to gain their late dad's inheritance in the form of more academy picks, as many hope this fight will be represented in a potential fist fight between Charlie Curnow and Mac Andrew. Capping off the doubleheader are 2 flag favourites as Hawthorn battle the Bulldogs for the fight of dominance in territory, as Ginnivan and Watson will look to aggravate as many unsavoury dogs as possible before copying potential fights for their discretions. Meanwhile, the Doggies will look to right their highly sus second half against Essendon, while supporters will somehow find a way to blame Aaron Norton for all of it. On the final day, we have yet another repeat of previous matchups as Geelong take on West Coast and Norwood. Although the Eagles have somehow already doubled last season's win tally, expected to be long gone after Geelong remakes last week's thumping, as the AFL looks to cater to their favourite non-Melbourne Victorian side by giving them yet another easy fixture. If you think it couldn't get any worse, we head back over to Barossa Park to watch the GWS Giants take on the Richmond Tiger Cubs for what will undoubtedly be the worst matchup this week, as the least supported side in the entire AFL should make handy work of a young and inexperienced Tiger side looking to sack their coach. And finally, to cap off this spectacle, we head back under the lights of Adelaide Oval to witness Port Adelaide battle the disappointing Saints. A slightly better matchup than the previous game, but with less fanfare, as there will be no Ken Hinkley airplane taunts and no talking shit from Jack Higgins, who was forced to retract last year's remarks after touring the city and posing as a paraglider. Tune in from Thursday to Sunday and gather round for a festival of footy. Yes, that is the actual name of this event, right here on 7 and Fox Footy.